Hello and welcome to Go Ballistic. As Scottish Suns look back at the weekend Premiership action. I'm Roger Hanna. With me, of course, Kris Boyd. You look as if you're in the Ayrshire sunshine this afternoon. Boyd, there's a wee bit of sunshine at Kilmarnock yesterday, and Celtic were made to work hard for their victory.
It was, but there is a little bit of sun coming in this window right now, Roger. I don't know if it's no good for the old face. It's no used to it at this time of the year. But yeah, they were, to be honest. I thought that Kilmarnock probably played better yesterday than what they'd done against Rangers a couple of weeks ago, but left with absolutely nothing from the Celtic game, because I mean you've got to praise Celtic as well in terms of the way they go about their business. I mean, they were asked to defend yesterday. It's the most a Celtic goalkeeper's probably been worked in, I mean, I don't know how long. Clean sheet, and for Kilmarnock causing them a lot of problems from physicality. Using the physicality and asking Celtic to defend. They stood up to it. As I said, Schmeichel, when he was asked to make a couple of saves, made them. Obviously, the Callum McGregor goal, it's a little bit fortune there, but I think we spoke about it yesterday, myself and James, in terms of if you put it in that area, if everybody misses it, you never know, it can go right through and into the back of the net. That's exactly what happened. But I mean, the real moment of class in the game was Nicholas Kuhn. To get away, maybe an experienced defender like Robbie Dees should probably have just taken one for the team there and pulled him back, committed a foul of some sort, because as soon as he's the other side of you, it's very difficult to get back when somebody's travelling at that speed getting into the box. But I mean, once he gets away, his touch across, I think it was young David Watson, and then to fire it away in the far corner. You've got to say, Roger, if there was to be a player of the year named right now, he hands down has been exceptional for Celtic and caused everybody problems. Not only in the Scottish Premiership, we've seen him dismantle Aberdeen last week, but also in the Champions League as well. And from where he was last season to where he is now is night and day. He was outstanding on Tuesday night, and Saturday last week, Tuesday night there, and he carried it on with that little bit of moment, that moment of class on Sunday. Just to seal the game when you kind of felt as if Kilmarnock, were maybe going to ask questions of Celtic towards the end, and they had three really good opportunities to either take the lead or get back into it. But as I said, Schmeichel was able to thwart them.
That's the first we've really seen Kasper Schmeichel called into action, any more than maybe one save per game. He certainly looked as if he's up to the task, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, I touched on it yesterday. I mean, there's a lot of similarities with his dad in terms of, the way he makes himself so big when he comes out, spreads himself. And we've seen that one when, Marley Watkins went through. He obviously hit the post, but, I mean, it's very, I know in the moment you look at it, but could you have just rolled it under him? Because he's going to come out and make himself as big as he possibly can. It's good goalkeeping, but, for Marley Watkins' point of view, he might have been saying, looking back right now, could have just rolled it under him. Could have maybe went round him and seen what was there. But listen, take nothing away from Kasper Schmeichel. Came out, he's he's a lot of praise, because it's probably all we've had to. It's probably all that anybody's had to speak about him, because he's not had any saves to make. Is how good he's been with his feet, his distribution. But I thought yesterday, in terms of commanding that area, so a couple of times he came and punched things as well, and caught balls coming in, which you need to do against Kilmarnock because of the size of them and the way they play, asking questions of you from set plays. But and he had a few good saves as well. So for me, thoroughly deserved his man of the match.
It was a different kind of win for Celtic. You're talking about Kuhn, you talk about Schmeichel. Callum McGregor provided that first goal. He's been outstanding. I thought he was terrific against Leipzig last Wednesday night.
Yep.
He played well yesterday. He's now going to get his feet up for a couple of weeks again. There's no international football now. He's drawn a line under that. Is it too much of a coincidence that he's in this great form club-wise when he's getting a break every month that he's never really had through his career?
Well, I think your body becomes programmed into, the way you normally play, and it might just be time that, Callum's body's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to, not playing games of football. But it doesn't look as if he's needing to adjust, because his performances have been outstanding. But, sometimes when you've played a lot of games and your body's used to playing games every 3-4 days, that's the way, your body, you prepare and you do the same things. But, obviously, Callum's decided to walk away from international football and, to prolong his Celtic career, or, get to the levels or stay at the levels that we've seen him before. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be delighted to actually, be able to put his feet up for a week and relax and spend some time with the family and come back energised and ready to go again, because it does take, its toll on you when you look at, obviously the Euros over the summer, and then, your games straight away as well, and the travelling and, but you look at, it might be something in a few months if, Scotland get a decent group in the World Cup qualifying campaign that Callum McGregor looks at and said, I wish I was there. Because there's no doubt, listen, if he was available for Scotland, he would be playing. So, but you've got to say, his performances for Celtic have been outstanding. And we're also speaking about the joint top goal scorer in the league. Who would have thought that? Callum McGregor. We're in November, joint top goal scorer with 2 St Johnstone players. It's unbelievable.
You've just got your old gaffer Steve Clement very excited at the thought that he might come back for these interviews. It was a big double header yesterday. Celtic had to work very hard at Kilmarnock in the early game. Rangers probably had to work even harder at home to Hearts in the tea time game. 1-0 Dessers after 6 minutes, but they were holding on a little bit in the second half. Yeah,
it's no surprise to be honest, Roger. I mean, I think I've had plenty to say on Rangers in the last few weeks, and you look at the cup game against Motherwell, you get over the line, you get in the final, brilliant. You then go and put in a performance on Thursday night in Greece against Olympiacos, and you kind of you hear people getting all excited again. But I mean, yesterday it was just back to what it's always been for me. I think Europe suits Rangers to an extent, because I think there's the way that teams in the continent will play, it's more of a slower build up to maybe they get into positions where they look to then try and hurt you. And I think Rangers might be more equipped to play that style of play as such, and the results in Europe show that. Philippe Clement, we speak about his record in Europe away from home, but you can't get away from his record domestically this season as well. I mean, it's been poor. I mean, Rangers have already lost to Aberdeen, lost to Kilmarnock, lost to Celtic, and they might be unbeaten away from home in Europe, but in terms of at home, it's not been good enough. And obviously, at Ibrox yesterday, you kind of 6 minutes in, and you think, right, go, let's see what Rangers can do here. There was an opportunity. A lot of people would maybe have thought that Hearts, because they played well in Thursday night for large spells in Europe, Hearts, and were very unlucky not to come away with anything. So I think a lot of people were maybe looking at that yesterday thinking, if Hearts can go there and show the belief that they showed in Thursday night, there might be a wee opportunity of picking something up there. But I mean, we sit here and performances might not be great from Rangers, but they're winning games again, and it's a good habit to have. But I think it's gone past that now for a lot of Rangers fans in terms of just looking. Sorry,
the winning games without convincing the supporters. There was a lot of jeers there, particularly Conor Barron was substituted during the second half of the game. Is it a worry? Will it be a worry for Philippe Clement that the fans are not buying into what's going on at the minute?
Yeah, it will be, or it would be, it should be, because I look at, and that's why I'm saying there, in terms of results, you might be getting them, but I think people are looking beyond that now, because the performances, I mean, they're no good enough, and I don't care what. I mean, anybody, you sit down, you win a game of football, it's fine, you can move on. But Philippe Clement speaks about progression. He speaks about the team getting better. This new team, we're in November. It's the new team. It's wore off. New signings. For large periods there weren't a lot of them playing, which tells me that they're not good enough. A lot of them. They're not good enough. So I get, Philippe Clement, he's trying to keep, a lid on it as such, in terms of he doesn't want to maybe throw, a few of them under the bus, because he can't be happy with the performances right now. And if he is, it'd be more worrying, if I'm being brutally honest. And I know you can try and put a positive spin on it, but you end up, you're hanging. I mean, Vargas had a couple of chances as well, hit the post as well. It's not convincing. And as I said, this progression and getting better and stronger, I don't see it. I really don't see it. To touch on the Conor Barron one, I think it was interesting again. He spoke about the probably being dictated to by other staff members, and I get that. It's all fair and well, and that's their job to highlight these numbers and that. But I mean, I just can't buy into this whole sports science running football. As I said, because the manager will get sacked, sports science won't get sacked. They'll just adapt to the next manager that comes in and go along with it. You know, if you worry about, I don't think if you go and speak to, I think I'd be comfortable in saying this. If you go and speak to any footballer out there and ask him when the last time he played a game of football, 100%, no injuries, no aches, nothing, you would struggle to find one that would say, that couldn't say, I've never done it. You've always got something, and you just need to play through them. You need to play through them. This whole thing of, monitoring what as soon as we get into a red zone and a heart monitor, or there's, potentially a little bit of fatigue, that's what happens when you're playing football. Guess what? You're running about for 90 minutes. It's
or in your case, 15.
15, my case 15. But I'm looking forward to Thursday, by the way. I'm looking forward to the Masters.
Masters at Aberdeen. You always get a warm welcome. That takes us on, actually, to the Granite City. You always get a warm welcome when you go up there.
Yes.
You're for a Rangers select in this Masters tournament on Thursday night, live on TV, I believe. What about the big team in Aberdeen, though? Because after that 6-0 semi-final defeat to Celtic, they came back on Saturday night against Dundee. They needed Dimitar Mitov to save a penalty at 0-0, but they kicked on and won the game 4-1. It's a great way to respond from that beating in the semi-final.
Yes, and I think that was, getting an international break, coming back off the back of, an absolute doing at Hampden from Celtic. There would have been a little bit of concern from Jimmy Talleen going into this game where, had a really, really good start to the season. And Dundee, they blow hot and cold, but, when they're on it, they're on it. You look at, could have been 1-0 up, as you said there, from a save. Simon Murray obviously missed it. He gets his goal later. But you look at Jimmy Talleen would have been worried that, you've had that Celtic one, you've now had a week to prepare. If you don't get the 3 points on this one, then all of a sudden you've got another 10 days, another 2 weeks in terms of the international break to stew on this. And then people are starting to say, as the wheels came off at Aberdeen. But I tell you what, answered the critics, and a pretty emphatic victory in the end up. 4-1 against Dundee at home. The other thing is as well, Roger, I mean, we can say what we want, in terms of the performance on the pitch and that, but I mean, the Aberdeen fans are turning up as well. That's their fourth sellout in a row as well. So, fair play to them. And I felt as if that they would probably have dropped a few points by now, but it just shows you I get things wrong every now and again.
It's very seldom, very seldom. I was going to ask, in terms of strikers, Kevin Nisbet off the bench.
Yeah.
Got off the bench at 2-1 just after the D get back into the game, set up a goal immediately, and then scored the fourth. If he can get fit, how important could he be for Aberdeen this season?
Definitely. I think when we've seen it, and he's obviously struggled for fitness when he came in at first, but he'd got a couple of goals when he first arrived, and you kind of thought, okay, here's the Kevin Nisbet that we've seen a few years ago before. Obviously going to Millwall and getting a few injuries, but I've always liked him, Roger. I think he's a striker that gets himself in a position to score goals, and I know that's what they do, or that's what they're meant to do. But a lot of them don't. A lot of strikers are quite content to run about and be away from the goal because all of a sudden people speak about, he works really hard, and you're not focused on him and maybe missing chances or his lack of goals because he's getting praised for he's holding the ball up really well, he's helping the team, he's holding the ball up, he's running into channels, he's working tirelessly, he's closing down defenders. A lot of strikers prefer that to be labelled at them, but I think for me, Nisbet is someone who will get himself in a position to score goals. And you look at Aberdeen, the creativity they've got right now. If they can get him back to the level of fitness that we've seen before he got that move, it could be a big signing for them in terms between now and the end of the season as well. And if we can get him scoring goals on a regular basis, dare I say it, but I mean, I might have to change my tune again. Aberdeen might just be difficult to stop. You're asked. Aberdeen are now in a position where go and win games against the rest. And listen, they've got a better squad than a lot of them. They should be able to do that. Rangers are under pressure to close that gap on them. There's no doubt about it. I don't think Aberdeen will challenge Celtic, but Rangers are under pressure. to close that gap. And Aberdeen, they don't look as if they're going to slip up anywhere. They just keep churning out results. But again, we can look at the fixtures, and we've spoken about them recently. The fixtures, but they've answered them. They've came through that bunch of fixtures. You're then looking at the ones going forward as well. Yes, they'll have to go to Tynecastle. They'll have to go to Ibrox. They'll have Celtic at Pittodrie, but they need to go to Rugby Park. There's difficult away challenges coming up for Aberdeen. But I will say, other than that semi-final, every other challenge that they've faced, they've answered.
Let me just get this right. You're suggesting Aberdeen might finish above Rangers in a week when you're going up to a stadium full of Aberdeen fans. You're just saying that for the easy ride. You think I'm daft. Anyway, Kevin.
By the way, I don't believe it, but I said they might be difficult to stop. Rangers are under pressure to stop it.
Kevin Nisbet, what would David Gray do to get him back at Hibs just now? Because you talk about Rangers under pressure.
Yeah.
David Gray is under the ultimate pressure. St Mirren winning at Easter Road at the weekend. Hibs, bottom of the table. I think, is it 7 without a win, including 4 defeats?
4 defeats as well.
They are in the mire.
I think when you take into consideration the Edinburgh Derby, and I thought that Hibs, they probably did shade it in terms of the chances that were created. Left there with nothing, but you felt as if that performance off of 3 defeats in a row, you kind of felt as if, right, okay, Hibs would take that point because Hearts have had a lot of success at Easter Road. Take that point and go and build on it with the fixtures against Ross County, Dundee United and St Mirren, 2 of them at home as well. They were the ones where you thought, if it's going to turn for David Gray, these are the ones. These fixtures are the ones that needs to turn. And then all of a sudden, you draw 2 of them and lose to St Mirren. It's no good. I mean, you can't. I don't think we can defend it and dress it up in any way. Listen, he made changes, to his team through the match as well. He kind of felt as if at the half time, actually, wasn't it? Pretty much tells you everything you need to know in terms of the defending, miles off it. That they are really struggling right now, Hibs, and I don't know. I mean, what is it? Dundee, Aberdeen, Motherwell, Celtic when they come back as well. I mean, it's not going to get any easier for them. But you look, I just David Gray is just going to get added to the long list of casualties in terms of management, and it would be worrying if I'm Hibs, because I know you go back a few months ago and my colleague at Sky, Luke Shanley, done an interview with the hierarchy at Hibs and had spoken to them about various things, and I wasn't convinced with the interview. I just felt as if there was a lot of fluff within it. Dressing a few things up. I wasn't sure about it. And the whole sporting success, and I mean, they're miles off it. They're miles off it.
They're the worst team in the league that I've seen this season. But you've been through David Gray's there just now, Nick Montgomery, Sean Maloney, Paul Heckingbottom, Jack Ross. I can't even remember. I've probably missed some in there as well. When does the penny drop that maybe the structure above the manager isn't going to support the manager? Because who's calling the shots? Is it the Gordon family and Ben Kensel? Is it Bill Foley and the Black Knights? What influence does Malky Mackay have in the football department there? Who's signing the players? I always remember Hibs for developing young players. Coming through. They'll spend a lot of money in that academy at East Mains. But you look at the team just now: Dwight Gale, Junior Hoylett, Marvin Ekpateta, Warren O'Hara. They're bringing in Kwon on loan from Celtic. They're getting Triantis on loan from down south. That conveyor belt of young talent that brought the Browns and the Whittakers and the Thompsons and the Riordans and the O'Connors and the Fletchers, it just seems to have dried up. And, you actually wonder if Hibs could succeed under any manager at the minute.
Well, I don't think they can. And I think, that the results and the performances and of recent times show you that. I think that, because they had Jack Ross there for a period of time, and we all felt that at that moment, they were on a bad run, but we all felt as if, Hibs made that decision to get rid of Jack Ross, which, as an owner, you can do whatever you want. But I don't think, the structure as you speak about there, I don't think the right structure was in place to allow the football club to go forward. And that is where it's been now for a number of years. It's been manager after manager, but you've got to look what's going on above the managers. And I don't care what anyone says, you've got to look what's going on above the managers, because you've named the Back Knights, Gordon family, Ben Kensell, Malky Mackay, the manager. I would be astonished out of that 5 if any of them are working together. Any of them. You know, I think, you know, Malky was probably delighted to get an opportunity, and I thought he would have come in and done well. Maybe, you know, he's, because of what's been going on around about the football club, he's not been allowed to do what he's wanted to do. I don't know. Ben Kinsella has overseen a lot of managers, unless they might have done a few good things away from the football pitch, but the core value fundamentals of a football club is the football pitch, and it's not been good enough. I get that there might be other things that you need to do, and that might have improved. The Gordon family, listen, they've put a lot of money in, and it's unfortunate what happened to the father, and maybe the love has been lost from the club then, and it's just been a case of it's just had to go on until you get to a stage where enough's enough. The Black Knights have put in, you know, their money. What say have they had? You know, you kind of get the feeling that, you know, having reading a few things and hearing a few things, they're not 100% happy with everything that's going either. Not really getting a say.
Yeah.
You know, so there is, and then you've got David Gray, where, I mean, he is a club legend that has probably been given the opportunity. I mean, he's now been part of a few managers, and it was the right time for him to become a manager. And I know he can't say no to the Hibs job, and he might have felt as if, right, I'm the one to go and take Hibs and take it forward, because there seems to be that, you know, with Malky coming in, he could be a buffer between, you know, the board, and we can all work together and keep it as a tight-knit group. But it's been anything but, really, hasn't it? I mean, the results continue to be disappointing. The transfers have been really disappointing. And again, you just look at, I mean, where are Hibs going? I mean, again, it's another huge club, or so we're led to believe, that has been ran so wrong, find ourselves bottom of the table. And, you know, what I will say is, it's happened to a few teams before when they think they're too big to go down. Hibs have been one of them in the past.
Yeah.
This is starting to get worrying. It's starting to get worrying for, if I was a Hibs fan. I would start to get worried, because there's a lot of people still think, oh, it's okay, we're Hibs, we'll get out of this. I'm not so sure.
We're in the middle of November. You've given us your Player of the Year, Nicholas Kuhn.
Yeah.
So in the middle of November, the team took it down. Is it Hibernian?
No, I don't think they'll go down. But someone's going to have to change. Something that the football club has to change. And what I will say is, and I'm not sticking up for David Gray here, because the results have not been good enough, and he is to blame for that. Him and his players are to blame for that. There's been a lot of bad luck, but he is only one of a number of managers now that has failed with this regime, this structure. Hibs need to do something at the higher, you know, at the higher levels of the football club, because it's broken. There is no other. The whole structure is broken, and they're going to have to do something, because if I was a Hibs fan, I would be genuinely worried. You know, we spoke about, you've seen their accounts for last year, the money they lost. I'd imagine it'll be similar to this year, because they've not sold anyone. All we heard would be, you know, Sporting Success would bring us this. Unless finishing the bottom 6 is Sporting Success, where does the money come from that? Because, as I said, I don't see it. And there is no doubt that Hibs will be spending more money now than they've probably ever been spending in their time. And it is as bad as I've seen it at Easter Road. It is as bad as I've seen it. And I would be worried. I still think if they can address a few things, they'll get out it. But somebody's going to have to take control of the football club, because the way, the structure and everything, you know, you kind of, a lot of angry fans at the weekend as well. A lot of angry fans. You heard it. And they're the ones that they're going to see it. They're watching it every single week. You know, you can't, you know, we spoke about the fixtures. It needs to turn for Hibs. And, you know, the fixtures they've got when they come back, go easy.
Boyd, that's great. I'll light you out. That sunshine is clearly affecting you. You're tipping Aberdeen to finish above the Rangers.
I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. What I said was Rangers are going to have to they might be worried because it doesn't look as if Aberdeen are going to slip up. Still a long way, Roger. There's still a long, long way to go.
We'll get you away. We'll prepare you for the Masters in Aberdeen on Thursday night. Lots of hydration. I'll give you a number for the Rangers Sports Science Department. Boydie, thank you very much.
And by the way, we might, if we go and win it, we're coming back down the road with 3 points. We might use that for Rangers as well. See ya.
Take care.